And I'm going to start the music. Go. Let's see. You can dance a little bit if you want. Get comfy. I can't not dance when I hear music. Thank you for coming to 10 Minutes in Tinseltown. This is Ms. Meliz. My name is Melissa Reyes, and tonight I have with me my good friend Mare, who's going to co-host for me, and we welcome our featured guest, Carol Takakura. She's got wellness time, and she is your Sage Gourmet, so we're going to find out about that. And why don't you take it away, Mare?
Well, Carol Takakura is a chef. She's also a yoga instructor and a wellness coach.
Very good. Thank you.
Welcome, Carol.
Thank
Welcome,
you.
Carol. How are you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing great. How are you?
Fantastic. Thank you so much for being here. It's been a long time, and I just want to say that you look fantastic, and you're a testament to what you've been teaching, I have to say. You just look gorgeous. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm married. I have two sons, 26 and 22, and I have a granddaughter who's 3.
Okay.
And my oldest son is in the military, and my youngest son was living up in Northern California. He's a mechanic. And I am, like you said, I'm a wellness coach and nutrition consulting. I do what I call kitchen coaching. So I go, rather than sitting down with someone at a table and talking about all the things they should and shouldn't do, I'd rather spend time with them in the kitchen and show them things that they can do, and maybe go through their pantry and figure out things that are working for them and things that aren't, and just get a new playing field for them to feel like they can be creative and flexible in the kitchen and not have to spend all day there either. That's really important to me. So I do a lot of recipe creation, and I work with a lot of people with food intolerances and that sort of thing, as well as people that are looking to lose weight or they've got health concerns. That's pretty much what I'm up to these days.
Oh, that's fantastic. And you have a wonderful website where you can go and see, and I was looking at your YouTube as well, where you can go and see videos and articles about different ingredients and different, and all the science behind it. Carol really, really knows what she's talking about. It's amazing. So we first met when I took a class at my work that was put on by our human resources department. It was like one of those, healthy things for you to do at work, and was really great. And once a week she did a cooking demonstration, and we got to, make stuff with her and taste things. And then she incorporated this, really lively conversation about various topics that had to do with our health. And some of those things really stayed with me, and we've kept in touch. And now I'd like to introduce her to Blab, because I think that she could reach a lot of people here, and also be maybe a regular guest on my show or a different show where we talk about health and wellness. I think it's really important to have, discussions constantly about what we're doing for ourselves and how we're taking care of ourselves. And I know that I had just been diagnosed with diabetes when I met Carol a few years ago. And, so I'm still, of course, dealing with that. And now, I have some various problems that was just diagnosed with my back. And so, it's never going to go away. We just have to keep talking about it and learning and doing whatever we can. So she's great to motivate in that way. So, tell me, Carol, a little background, like how did you get into this and why is it your passion?
Oh gosh. Well, I think food for me is a way to nurture and a way to just show my love for people and help them try to feel better. I started sort of taking my mom's kitchen over when I was around 12. And I'll never forget one weekend that they decided they would leave me at the house without them. I was a teenager, and they went away for the weekend, and they trusted me at home. Well, they came home, and sure enough, I'm having a party. But my mom and dad came rolling into the house, and I'm making spaghetti for a bunch of my friends. So yes, we probably shouldn't have all been there, but I was in the kitchen cooking for everyone. So that pretty much sums it up. That's just where I always seem to find my happiness, is in the kitchen and in my garden.
Mm-hmm.
And when I know what you were saying, you were on my site. When you're on my site, you can see that I have a line of herb salts that I created, and I make those all out of my organic garden. So everything that I do incorporates love. There's love in it. And I think when you come from that perspective, from that place, it can't help but to make other people want to join you and take care of themselves and take care of others.
Yeah, I had the privilege of tasting some of her salts that you prepared for us, and we took home around Thanksgiving, and they were really good. And I mean, I can almost taste it now. It was so unique, I think. I mean, I just don't go shopping in a lot of gourmet shops but would buy those kinds of things or even make them myself. But it was such a nice, pleasant thing to have. And also, we did a lot of shakes. Do you still do a lot of those protein drinks and stuff? And
yeah, I do. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I never imagined, having that many vegetables in a drink, and I really enjoyed it, especially the basil ones.
I love that. That's one of my favorites, the basil and cucumber.
Yes.
It's so good. So nurturing, so good for you, especially this time of the year when it's so hot.
Are you working, Lee, where you're buzzing for us? Are you buzzing?
Yeah, I can mute.
Yeah, mute. We love to have you, and I'm going to tell Carol who you are because this is a surprise. So, all right, go finish what you remember what you were saying.
The shakes. Something that I'm really trying to coach people through right now is that it's great to have these protein shakes. It's wonderful to get your fruits and veggies in a glass that you can carry with you and run out the door. But I think people need to remember and keep in mind that there's a lot of sugar in fruit. So when you're using a mango and a banana and a pineapple and then throwing some spinach in there, well, you've pretty much got your sugar for the week in that one drink.
Right.
And then people drink it so quickly, and the next thing they know, they can't figure out why they're gaining weight from these powerful protein shakes. From what I just said, you can hear there's not really a lot of protein in what I just said. There is spinach and the scoop of protein powder you put in, but you sort of washed it away by adding so much fruit. So you want to think green first, deepest, darkest colors first, and then for sweetness, use a half a banana because you're getting other things in it. You're getting the magnesium, you're getting the potassium, but think of it as when you're putting food in your body, whether it's in a shake or whether it's in the form of the food on your plate, think of what it's going to do for your body, what it can do for you, how it can nurture you, how it can be medicine for you, because you can really go a long way in taking care of a lot of minor ailments with the food that you eat, including the smoothies. It's just the way you blend it, making good choices.
It's a reminder, and it's those little things that you would say in class that made a difference for me, like thinking of your food as medicine. Well, I know that ice cream is like crack. I don't need it. You know what I mean? It's like there's a lot of things that if I think about it, I'll eliminate, if I just hear those little words in my mind, and then of course replace with something that's very healthy and will be helpful for me. It's mainly digestion. I have to be very concerned about how my kidneys and liver are working and my pancreas and everything. And that's what is the thing that goes bad in my family. So, and with diabetes, I have to really be careful so much. And then my physicality right now, like I said, and I'm sharing this with people because I've made a lot of friends here on Blab that I haven't been completely, like one of those people that shares about all their ailments. But, I'm dealing with some serious pain from back issues and finally got an MRI, and I have a cyst on my back that has always been there that causes, when I have inflammation, it's going to cause pain. Plus I have one degenerative disc and some edema. So, I have to be careful about that inflammation. And I know that I can control that by moving and by what I eat. And so, but even before I got that diagnosis, I had been thinking about meeting up with you and having a weekly talk or even a monthly talk with friends who help me feel better about myself. And that is why Lee is here, because Lee is a wonderful friend who I met, and he's actually working right now, but he's on because he's so dedicated. Isn't that sweet? And he is a dog groomer, but and he is a fantastic friend. There's his dog. And he's a singer, and he's very entertaining and but very happy. And we deal with some of the same ailments and worries, but he's very positive. And I think that I call him the animal expert for 10 minutes in Tinseltown, because he's very knowledgeable about animals. But I think it's so important that we have companion animals, and that any person who's able to love someone and take care of someone or something else is really special. So that's what he brings to the conversation. It's also pretty healthy.
Very cool.
So welcome.
I'm very glad to join the conversation, you guys. And I'll introduce you. This is Teddy that I'm working on right now.
Hi, Teddy.
Aw.
Little kiss for me, making me look good. All right. Yeah, we're giving a little haircut, having to wrap it up because I had quite a day. So I'm sorry that I'm having to multitask, but I'm here for you, Miss Melissa.
Thank you. You're so kind. Now, Lee's in San Diego. Mare is in, where are you, Mare? New Jersey?
I'm in New York.
She's in New York. And Carol, you're in the Los Angeles area, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, Lee, I'm going to mute you. Would you mute yourself again? Because I'm getting some feedback. I think it's from you. Oh, is that it? It's making me hear myself twice. Oh, that's so much better. Sorry. Anyhow, just hang in there, Lee. Listen and nod and smile, and we'll ask you questions. Or if you have anything to say, just hop on. So, he's like, okay. So, anyhow, so that is, do you have any questions for me, Carol? Or do you have anything else that you want to say before I move on?
Well, I'm curious what you're doing for the inflammation in your back. What are you doing to manage that?
Right now,
what do they suggest?
Anything. It's the typical thing, and I think I told you this long ago. It's always so depressing for me because it's like, oh, you need to lose weight. So I haven't gained any weight in the last 10 years, really. And so, but my doctor wants to see me lose weight. So she added another prescription for me. It's Jardiance. It's new. It's for diabetics, but it helps you to lose weight. And so she's going to see how I do on that. And so it's been less than a week that I've been on it, but then just to maintain everything else that I've been doing. And so, blood pressure and cholesterol is fine. My blood sugar is up, but that's because I eat sugar, so yeah. I think so. I'm going to be testing more often, and but I just need to get motivated. I want to be held accountable rather than just what I've been doing, which is really taking. Have you seen that commercial where they say, "Don't you wish you could have one blueberry or do one sit up and that will be good enough?" That's how I feel. Like whatever I'm doing is not enough. Mm-hmm. It's not the complete lifestyle.
It's really hard to fit it in. It's hard to manage everything. But it may be that you need less and not more. Just a consideration. Have you ever read the book, The Essentialist?
No, I love to get book recommendations, though. What is it?
It's basically talking to people. It speaks to people that have 50,000 things going on and all kinds of things they love to do, and it's about minimizing and choosing the things that are most important and the things that nurture you and the things that are going to make you thrive either physically or emotionally. Mm-hmm. And it's just eating things out, and it gives you scenarios and just sort of sheds a different light on it. But I think that works in the way that we eat and the way that we move too. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes we're trying to do so many things to manage ourselves.
Could you look that up there?
The Essentials? Yeah, I'm looking that up right now.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. It sometimes is a matter of taking things out and not trying to do so many things.
Right.
Oh, look.
I know. She's trying to steal. Look, she's trying to look in there. He's such a doll.
Anyway,
He sings to them. So, but I want you to say more because I'm trying to understand what you're saying. Like you were talking about doing less things, or so in essence, focusing more on something else, which is the health, the diet.
Well, focusing more on the things that are essential to your health and well-being, and that may be taking some.
Sorry. Sorry.
That may be taking some things off of your plate, your work plate. It may be not trying to fit in a walk and a bike and a gym and a this and a that. It may be focusing for a month on biking and incorporating more greens. It may be then perhaps adding one thing, or maybe moving away from the biking and doing walking and adding something different, a cleaner source of protein, pulling the sugar out, trying little baby steps, you know what I mean? Instead of because we get really overwhelmed, you know, we really want to make it all work. We don't want to feel like we're failing at anything. So we keep adding more things on till we find that thing that really clicks. And sometimes it ends up just being a big pile of things that aren't working.
Yeah. Yeah. I need to narrow it down. I think that's a really good suggestion. Just pick a couple of things and try it without trying to change everything.
Yeah.
You know, okay. So that's really good advice. And, you know, I really appreciate you coming on. I don't want you to think that I just got you to come on to give me free advice, but, just to build on our relationship, and because I'm so inspired by you. And so, do you want to tell us more about, your new, it's newer, your Sage Gourmet? What makes that different from Wellness Time with Carol?
Well, Wellness Time, originally when I set that up, it's actually not my brand. It was just when I was looking for a Twitter account, I was thinking along the lines of all the things I do. And it was and the Twitter feed actually came along before I branded my business as My Sage Gourmet. Mm-hmm. And My Sage Gourmet, basically just a double entendre, meaning a couple of different things. Sage being smart, sage being the herb, and wellness being just being in our best space physically and emotionally. And because I do so many things between the herb line that I created and the cooking classes and my yoga classes, it just seemed to encompass everything that I do. So Wellness Time was just sort of a play on words that made sense to me, with time being an herb. So the My Sage Gourmet, that's been growing for some time now. And initially, I went to school for holistic nutrition through the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. And I thought, I'm going to be a full-time health coach. That's what I came out of school thinking that was what I was going to do. And then within the first year, I realized that health coaching full-time for me was just not doable. And I felt like I was missing out on some of the other things that really resonate with me, and the things that make me who I am. And by not being the kitchen coach and not spending time with my hands in food or my hands in the dirt in my garden, it was taking away from who I am, and it was taking away from my message. So I'm trying to get as close back to that as I can. I've been doing a lot of writing. I actually, this weekend, I stepped out of my comfort zone and I auditioned for MasterChef here in Los Angeles.
Oh, really? That's fantastic. That's great.
It was an incredible experience. And I spoke about it this morning at my Toastmasters meeting. And the main thing for me was, once I did it, I let go of any attachment to the outcome. If it happens, great. If it doesn't, it's just as great. It was just such a wonderful thing. I enjoyed everyone I met, and it was just so much fun. So who knows? We'll see where it goes.
Yeah. So what station or channel is that affiliated with? Is that the Food Network, MasterChef, or is it something else?
I'm gonna look at Lee. Lee's shaking his head, so I'm gonna say yes. It's the Food Network.
It's like, don't you know, Melissa?
I hadn't watched it. Someone recommended that I try out for it, and they want someone that's a home cook based person. They don't want a professional person that's in the kitchen cooking as a living. So it fit the criteria for me. And so once I filled out the 12-page application. Then I watched it and I went, oh dear God, no,
You have
not
to do
me.
that.
Why not? What do I have to lose?
Right.
I'm glad I did it. It was really an amazing day.
That was today?
Saturday.
Saturday. Oh, okay. Wow, you really have been doing so much. So, in a couple weeks, or I don't have the exact date yet, but I got the go ahead from the Food Network to interview Ashley Marie, who is currently on the Halloween baking challenge on the Food Network. And so I met her when she had just finished filming, but she couldn't say, who won or how far she went. She's not allowed to say until it's done being aired. And the second episode was just aired yesterday. And so she's going to be on in the next few weeks. So we have to get through a little bit more red tape before we can go on. I have to make sure I follow all the rules. And but it's going to be neat having her, who she's been through the competition, and she's a home pastry chef or whatever, home baker. And she's doing really well, and she's really fun. So, who knows, the next time you come on, I could be introducing you as the master chef, Carol Takakura.
It could happen.
We have a question for Carol. Scribbling Bandit is asking, aren't those cooking shows stressful? How would that affect your health or chi?
That's a really good question. I think the minute I let go of any attachment to the outcome, it took that off my plate. For me, that's the way it works for me. If I hold on to it and I let it consume me or let it cause self-doubt, then I might as well just walk away from it. So I decided going in that was going to be my attitude, and anything that happens from here is good. And if at any point I feel that that's the case, that I am being stressed out by it and that it's no longer serving me, then I'll just pull out. I mean, I'm not a quitter, but I'm mindful of my own wellness. And it's taken a long time for me to get to that place. I am an A-type. I like to push through. I don't like to fail. I like to be the best at everything I do. But that's ridiculous. I need to be the best at me, and that's all I need to be the best at. And the best for my clients. And if I'm not, I tell them I may not be the best person for you. I don't need to rule the world anymore. So thank you for the question.
That is a great question. There was another question too about your website. Can you type that in, or just let us know what that is? Maybe Mary can put that in. Is it sagegourmet.com or?
It's My Sage Gourmet.
mysagegourmet.com. So if you could type that in there, that would be great. And you can all go check it out. And also follow or subscribe to Carol's YouTube channel. She's got a great little video that I wanted to show. I'll have to put it on the blog about, who you are, and little animation. It was very cute. I liked that a lot. So you're I really felt like the next step for you is this platform to try, because there's a wonderful community here. And as you can see, there's a number of people here that have popped in. We have Tammy at Vintage Path, and Diana, and Joe Wilson, and Meredith. And these are all people who I get to talk to almost every day. And of course, Lee's there working away, doing his thing. And, we all really support each other. And I also have the camera, my cell phone here is pointed, and it's on a different platform called Meerkat. And there's a number of people there watching too. And they're all just very supportive and helpful in a lot of ways. So I hope that you find it something that will be helpful for you too. So Lee, let's give you a chance to talk. Come on in. Do you have any questions for Carol or any comments on wellness?
How's my sound, right?
Sound good.
Yeah, wellness is huge for me because being a groomer, I have to make sure that everything is running at all cylinders are go all the time. It's a really taxing line of work, so I have to be healthy and mindful of all my choices, and it's permeated throughout my life. So I'm really jiving with what you're laying down.
Cool.
He's so upbeat. I just love it. So,
Like from carpal tunnel to gout to all kinds of stuff that I have to be concerned.
Yeah.
You know?
Physicality, yes, for yourself. But then your mood too, because you're dealing with animals who could bite you. I think
I had one today. And,
really.
Let me tell you a story. This is a fun story. I had a client that was new today, and she came in with a Pomeranian that was less than kind. He wouldn't even let me pick him up, but thankfully I had, and there was also a language barrier between us. So
between you and the Pomeranian?
That's what I was getting at.
No, actually, the Pomeranian and I were eye to eye. Like
you know
could
exactly.
understand each other.
Okay.
But the lady, she had English was definitely not her first language.
Got it.
So, anyhow, I'm trying to decipher, what she's looking for. Okay, I get it. She wants a lion clip. And then all the while I'm having to, make sure that my body is sending the right message to the dog, at the same time trying to talk to her. So it's a very it's a very interesting mental challenge. And so, I always have to make sure that I'm in a good, happy place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's nothing but frustrating.
Right. They'll pick up on it. And so, Carol, I'm so impressed with Lee. What he does is a lot of times he'll stream while he's grooming. And so he enjoys having somebody with him, which is what he's doing right now. But then he'll sing to the dogs, and they just love it. And everybody watching loves it too. He's just a wonderful singer, and he's so much fun. And
that's great.
It's really cool. And he has background in singing.
I just had my pup at the vet at the groomer this afternoon, and we bathed her at home, and then we took her in to get groomed. And I usually take her with my other dog, and I didn't today, and she was a wreck. And they called me and said, "Ellie wants to go home now."
Yeah.
It was a block
when
away.
They have a bad day. They have a bad day.
Oh, well, I trimmed my cat's nails yesterday, and he's still not very happy with me.
Wow.
Yeah. So he was a little upset. He just loves to dig them into me. It's all fun. It's all good though. I've been doing that for a while. So yeah, I don't know. The cats are easy, I think, compared to dogs, but dogs are so sweet. So Mary, do you have any questions for Lee or Carol?
No, I really don't have questions. It's more of a comment. Carol, everything you're saying speaks to me. Most of the people here are friends of mine, so they know I'm a cancer survivor. I've had cancer twice. So a lot of what you're saying has been part of my own wellness routine about letting go and knowing what I can and can't do or handle. And especially I like the line you said about when you learned how to let go on the end result, that wasn't your responsibility. And that's been a huge part of it, because I think we worry about things that we really have no control over, or we worry about things that have to take their own time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
We have another question. So I'm going to pop over here. Scribbling Bandit, Meredith, asks, Carol, does your website have the salts on it, or do you have recipes?
They're actually both, actually. They're up in the main tab. Above that, there's a whole section of recipes, and then there's another tab that says shop, and that's where all the products are. And there's actually, they're all there. And on the recipes, most of the recipes I have on the site, you'll find some stuff on there that's definitely decadent, but I really focus a lot on eating clean proteins and antioxidants and a lot of anti-inflammatory foods. So a lot of the recipes on there they're clean eating, and they're meant to have you in good health. So play away and enjoy the decadent stuff. Just balance it out with the other good. There's lots of recipes on there.
This is why I like Carol, because she totally understands the decadent part. So
you have to have a balance. There's the 90-10 plan. Or 80-20. 80 or 90% of the time, behave yourself. eat what you know you should be, and then the rest of the time, don't worry about it.
Right.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, you shouldn't deny yourself the good stuff altogether.
That's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, that's so true. So, Mary, can you put the link in again for Nancy? And that'd be fantastic.
Sure.
So she can go see the website. Everybody's asking for the website, Carol. It's really refreshing, you know, and you know, like I said, I've met a lot of people on Blab and on Meerkat, and a lot of people have a lot of wonderful things to contribute. But there doesn't seem to be a you. You know, I think that your knowledge and personality is just perfectly matched for us. So I've been dreaming about this for a while, and I just wanted it to be casual and not put you too much on the spot. I don't have a lot of, you know, questions prepared or anything. I just thought we'd chat. That's why I have my friends here, so we can all talk about things kind of in a natural way. And that's how Blab is meant to be, really, just to have discussions and people can watch and ask questions.
Right. I like it.
Yeah.
For
So
sure.
let's switch to yoga. Are you still teaching yoga?
I am. I still do classes at the Motion Picture Hospital over in Woodland Hills. It's mainly meant for members of the guild, of the Actors Guild or the Performers Guild, and also the employees that work there. I've been teaching there on and off for about 8 years.
Look at that.
And then I do private classes.
Oh.
So, and then I, during the summertime, sometimes when it's not crazy 95 degrees at the beach, I'll do a combination of a hike and a beach yoga class. This summer has just been so busy, I didn't really pursue it. So early fall, I'll probably have another day that I do a class that's on the beach, and then we pair that with a hike. So that's really fun. I love doing that. It's just it's a blast.
That does sound like fun. So for your private classes, where do you have them? You know, I'm
wherever anyone wants me to. I do corporate yoga, so I'll sometimes do it at schools or, you know, schools or businesses. And I'll go to people's homes. They come to my home. I'm pretty flexible about, you know, I'm a yoga teacher. I have to be flexible, right? There's a saying I used to have on the back of my card that said, "Blessed are the flexible. They are not so easily bent out of shape." So, your motivation for yoga. There's one for you.
That's a good one.
Great. I love that.
So we have another question, and when we're looking at that question, Mir, would you DM David Dorian Ross? I wanted to see if he's available to come in and say hi.
Sure, will do.
So, Carol, who was your mentor, and how did you get to this point in your life?
Oh, goodness. I've had a lot of mentors. There's so many. When it comes to food, I mean, I love, gosh, now that you asked me, I'm not going to remember any names that I love so much. There's a few chefs that I follow, and there are a few doctors that really believe in the power of anti-inflammatory foods and that sort of thing. There's a whole series of books, the Anti-Inflammatory Zone, Anti-Inflammatory Diet, and for the life of me right now, I could go get them off my bookshelf over there, but they're not sitting at my hand right now. But there are several. I'm always finding new mentors that I love and that really just want to focus on the easy, you know, on just walking the walk.
You really are. You really are. Have you had any health issues in your life that caused you to turn to wellness as a passion, or what is it that made you want to do it?
Well, if with yoga, that's actually a really good story. I was having all kinds of trouble. I used to have a business that was very stressful. I had 15 people working for me, instructors in classes, and then I had a staff of 5 in the office. And I was a single mom at the time, and it was just a really stressful time. And I just kept going and going and going. And I ended up getting to the point where I was sleeping 3 or 4 hours a night, because that was really all I was making time to do. I was just making sure that I was on all the time. And I got to the point where this pain in my right side that I couldn't lift my right arm. So it took that to get me to take the time off to go to the doctor. And when I went, they said, "We think you have fibromyalgia." And I didn't want to believe the diagnosis. The doctor gave me some pills and said, "Take these for a month and we'll see how you're doing." and they made me really sick. And I called the doctor's office and said, I can't take these. Isn't there something else we can do? And they said, well, the doctor says you have to take them for a month, and we can't help you until you try that. So I threw the pills in the trash, and I went to a yoga class. I'd never been to one before. I have to do things harder, faster, stronger all the time girl. Yoga was never in my idea of a fun thing to do, or that it was going to do anything for me. And I ended up crying in that class that night because I got it. It made so much sense to me, and I felt this immediate release, and I started to feel better immediately. So I started taking yoga, and fast forward 3 years later, I got certified, and I started teaching on a regular basis. I was doing it full time for a while, but it was a little bit taxing. I was teaching 16 classes a week, and that's just crazy.
Oh God.
Your body can only do so much. So I had that. That's what brought me to yoga. And I just turned 55 a couple weeks ago. So I've got the inherent things that go on with getting older, and things crack and pop and do all kinds of crazy stuff. But I did have a stress injury this last year, and I took a pretty good long break from yoga, and I've been in PT for it, doing water therapy actually, and acupuncture. Oh, wow. And both are helping me so much. So that's how I came to yoga. That's what started that whole thing.
That's amazing. I mean, I'm so glad that you did. And you just have helped so many people with that. And of course, so the fibromyalgia is not a problem anymore since you started that. How long ago was that?
I haven't. Oh gosh, it's been 10 years now.
Yeah, so that's great.
Yeah, about 10 years.
That's really great. And so,
or even more actually. Yeah.
Time goes by so fast, doesn't it? Especially when you're having fun.
It does.
So I think Diana, who's Daiwu, the pretty little daisy in here, or what, I don't know what kind of flower that is, she said that she has that too. And they're talking about recipes over here.
Oh, okay.
And she was going to make an avocado chocolate nut butter pudding.
Sounds
where's
good to
that
me.
from?
Oh, that's great. I make something similar. There's a recipe that's got coconut in it, water in it. And it's delicious. I have a recipe on my website if you like the avocados, for avocado tacos. Avocado with a panko crust. Oops. And 15-minute dinner. Really, really good.
I know what's for dinner tomorrow.
Wow. I like fried avocado, but that's probably not so good.
No fried.
You can still do panko and bacon. They're delicious.
Ooh, that sounds really good. That sounds really good. So let's see. Can you all hear me? Vintage, or Tammy was saying in Meerkat that she couldn't hear, so I'm trying to move the microphone for that one.
I hear you very clearly here.
Okay, good. So can you hear me? Can you hear me on Meerkat? Okay. So, Scribbling Bandit is Meredith Loughran. She's my new friend. For all of you Meerkat family who haven't met her yet, you want to make sure you're following her. She's fantastic. She and I have a lot in common, but we recently did an all-day blab on Sunday. We were on here from 9:30 to 4:30. Aw, shucks, she says. And we found out that we had a couple of things that were not in common. But so we can actually be friends because we're not exactly alike. She invited me to write a flash fiction horror story, which I'm going to be doing, that we'll be reading aloud on Halloween. It starts at 11 p.m. I think that's Eastern time. On Halloween night, and she's going to be on my Halloween special, which is on the 27th. It's Tuesday. It's Spooky Tales in Tinseltown or something like that. Spooky Tinseltown Tales 2. So that's what it is, and we're going to dress up in costumes. And so I was wondering how you're feeling, because I know she's got a cold. But if you'd like to come on with us and say hello, let us know, and Mara or Lee will step out for a moment so you can come in. So that's that. And also, she has a cold, and she probably doesn't want to. But anyhow, she's really awesome. So I want her to get well so that you can all come in. Maybe that would be good. A little scratchy voice for your Halloween special.
Why don't I jump out so you have an empty seat, since I'm kind of distracting with all the stuff that I'm having to do. But thank you so much for having me. And I will see you guys on the flip side, okay?
I really appreciate you being here, Lee. Thank you so much. Did you have anything you wanted? Oh, he's gone. Done. Okay. So, yeah. Does anybody else want to come on in? We could talk recipes. Let's see. I'm not asking Lee Carlson. He's like our comical sidekick where he just likes to say things to distract me on the back. So stay beautiful, everybody. Okay, Lee. We got 2 Lees in the room. So anyhow, Carol, like I said, do you think that this is something that we could do every so often and we can really plan out what we're going to talk about? So,
yeah, I think that's a great idea. Definitely. I was thinking about that last night. There's so many things that we could focus on. We could focus on, gluten-free. We could focus on proteins. I mean, we could go on and on, or specific types of recipes, yoga poses. Yeah, I think it'd be great.
I'm so glad. I'm really glad you like it. And there's just so much, we call it content, but there's a lot of conversations going on, but I really like to have those, show like content, that is a little, planned out, yet it's open to discussion. It has the best of both worlds. So that's kind of neat. So does anyone else have any questions or want to join us on screen? And I noticed that somebody just came in, Jamie. That's somebody who's new to me. If you'd like to ask a question, we have Carol Takakura. She's from Sage Gourmet, and she is a wellness kitchen coach, you said? Kitchen coach, yoga instructor, and chef who just tried out to be a master chef. We're very excited for her. That's awesome. Okay, Jamie, so we'll let you in and see what you're all about.
Hi.
New people. Oh, no. Hello. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you. Welcome to 10 Minutes in Tinseltown.
Hi. I just looked interesting, like an interesting title, so I popped in.
Well, thank you.
So
I have
Carol,
a weekly show, and Carol's my guest tonight, so go ahead and ask your question.
I don't have a question.
Oh, then introduce yourself. Are you new to Blab?
No, I'm like, I don't know, 40 days on Blab or something.
Okay.
But
you're old pro.
Not really. I'm still exploring. So are you in Tinseltown?
Yes.
That's my question.
Okay.
And Carol, where
a lot of people worry about that.
Carol, where are you?
I'm in Los Angeles area. I'm in the San Fernando Valley.
And then Hollywood area and Mare.
I am in Queens, New York.
Oh, and I'm in Scottsdale, Arizona.
All right.
Okay.
Very good.
So, Carol,
you're very well lit, Jamie.
I've got lighting.
You do. I'm envious.
It's funny. You come in here and some people are like laying in bed with no lights on and stuff, and I don't know if I'm going to be seen around the world potentially. I'm not going to look dumb. Anyway, so I have a light.
That's good. Light is good.
So Carol, I heard just briefly you're a gourmet cook. And
health coach or a nutrition consultant.
So is your cooking along that same line, or in terms of healthy kind of cooking?
For the most part, yes. We were just talking about that on my website. I have some very decadent desserts and a few things that are just downright naughty. And for the most part, I have most healthy stuff. I like to have that balance. So you'll find all kinds of things on there. And when I coach people, when I do my nutrition coaching, my health coaching, I prefer to do it in the kitchen because that's the place where everybody ends up having the most need for me, is trying to help them organize and plan ahead and make things simple, and just put some things together and not be afraid to make mistakes. Sometimes those things taste the best. So
that's awesome. And it's true about everything. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. At least try, right? You gotta try. So
it's a giant fun science experiment. Hopefully edible.
Do you do any cooking, Jamie?
I'm not a gourmet cook. I'm just kind of a, what would you call it? Well, I do cook healthy stuff. So I'm not into anything with lots of sugar and creams and things like that. So, I mean, I'll just decide to make something, and I'll take a skillet and I'll pour some olive oil on it and some onions and some garlic and some, and I just keep going until I get something that smells good and might taste good. I'm a seasonal. When I go to the store, I make sure I'm getting things that are in season. When you go to the grocery store, there's things, certain things you just don't want to cook certain times of the year. And I grow a lot of stuff too. I just got done roasting green chilies.
Oh, wow.
I love it when I do that because the smoke alarms go off and the house smells like green chilies forever. But I went out this evening before the sun went down. I've got over 40 green chili plants in my garden. And they're like 5 feet tall.
Wow.
That's fantastic.
You must have a pretty large garden.
It's about 10 by 20. Space them 2 feet apart.
Carol grows herbs and then makes a salt herb blend. Is that what it is that you do, Carol?
Yeah. Sea salt blends. I've got 5 different blends that I make. And then I do a roasted garlic salt that I roast the garlic in the whole pod and just a little bit of olive oil on it and just squeeze the garlic out and cure it with the sea salt. So for the most part, it's more of an herb base than it is salt, because the salt's there just to cure the herbs so that they're shelf stable. So it's for every half a cup of sea salt in my recipe, which makes about 10 jars, there's 8 cups of herbs in it. So the balance is really good. And we grow a lot in our garden. We try to eat out of it year round. We're one of the few gardens in our area where we don't just let it go. We literally grow year round. And like you said, Jamie, we try to eat seasonally. It's better for your body. It's better for the environment. And it tastes a lot better. I think until you've had a real fresh tomato out of a garden, you can't say you don't like tomatoes.
That's true.
And if you go out and pick a tomato and it's still warm and you cut it and it's just juicy and delicious, and realizing that it can taste completely different than the one coming from the plant right next to it, then you can say you don't like tomatoes. Until you do that, you can't say you don't like them. And the same goes for Brussels sprouts or beets or anything, really. I mean, we grill a lot. So I grill beets, slice them really thin, and a little bit of olive oil and some of my seasoning salt, and they're delicious. And a lot of people that don't generally like beets love them off the grill. So, there's always a way, I think, and seasonally is the way to go.
That sounds so good. Mary, did you want to go over some of the questions that we have in the side?
I did. Meredith at Scribbling Bandit would like to know if you have a favorite meditation or ritual.
Do you meditate, Carol?
I find that you can meditate during a walk, sitting on a hillside, or even if you're stuck sitting in your car. A lot of it's about the breath and just taking the time to really take a nice deep inhalation and slowly let it out. And I think you can get past a lot of things by taking some breath, taking your time, and just 5 minutes, even if you've only got 5 minutes or 2 minutes, whatever it is, just stopping and being in observance of what's really going on with you for the moment, and letting go of, like we talked about earlier, Mara, that attachment to an outcome or the situation that's going on right now, and just stepping out of it for a minute and focusing on yourself and your breath. And I think you can find that in my way. Sometimes that's the only way I have time to meditate. Sometimes that has to be what it is. And it's just, so. And
that's a part 2 to that question. Meredith wanted to know if you have a favorite time of day and why.
Oh, definitely mornings. The earlier, the better. I wish I could get myself up even earlier than I do, because I always feel like I am, number one, it's a gift. I see things and I'm more aware of things going on around me, that I feel like that was something that was just for me that time. And also I'm so ahead of the game. I can get my workout done. I can make myself a nice meal. I can return some emails. I can do whatever I need to do before everybody else needs to have a piece of me, you know? Yeah. And then I can move on with my day. And then it can be about all of us. But for a little while, it gets to be just about me and my sanity and my peace. And so it's definitely
I agree.
Mornings.
I'm an early morning person. That is my quiet time. And exactly what you said, before anybody needs a piece of me. I love that. I love that time of day. Yeah.
I could find that piece as I'm sleeping while everybody else is up. I'm not a morning, although I do get up early.
But you can't get a sunrise while you're sleeping.
You can't get what?
You can't get a sunrise while you're sleeping.
And that is particularly beautiful. And I do actually get up early. I'm just on a clock because I'm used to it during the week. So I get up early on the weekends and I'll have coffee and I'll watch the sunrise. It's great. But
So what time is
I'm not really natural. Before the sun rises?
Well, if I'm on my game, it's 5 o'clock.
Yeah, I get up about 5:30 every morning.
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten up much earlier, and when I'm traveling, anytime that I'm going on a trip, but if I'm going on a road trip, I like to be out and gone on the road before the sun comes up, because there's nothing that beats that. You know, you get that little time that's cool, and you get a little mist, and just such a quietness, and then you get to see the day beginning.
Yeah.
I love the quiet morning so much that I've started getting up earlier and earlier and earlier and earlier. I'm getting greedy with my quiet time. I literally just changed my alarm to 4 a.m. because I was getting up naturally. I was waking up naturally at 4. So I changed my alarm so that I knew when it was 4 for sure.
It's funny because we've got the night people in the side here because they're all talking.
They're just going chatting
and starring next to their names.
I'm going to call them all tomorrow morning very early and wake them up.
Yeah, I know that's funny. We'll be up late,
wake them up.
You know, like
did you guys
4 p.m. is bedtime, not when time to wake up. But that's okay. So, you know, there's everything is in balance, right? When we have two sides to everything. So I think that's really cool. And I appreciate Meredith asking these questions, because that is what we did on Sunday all day long. We did the talking sticks. I haven't put away right now, but it's a game. I had 101. There are 101 little sticks, and you can just pull one out, and each one has a question. And then that's how we were keeping the blab going for so long, because the topics just kept changing, and we were giving people 2 minutes to answer. And then we would, you know, all kind of answer and then go on to the next one. And it was a blast. It was really fun, and no pressure to think about the question or the topic to stay on. And so she's got some great questions. I think she's trying to come up. Do it. No, not now. But I think she could probably come up with another 100 questions. She's really good at that. So we'll do it again for sure. So anyway, what about books? Have you written a book, Carol, or have you considered writing a book?
I will do it. I don't know how quickly it's going to morph into an actual hold it in your hand sort of a book. I do a lot of article writing. I have a blog on my website, and I send out a newsletter about every 8 weeks. I'd love to say I did it more frequently, but unless I feel like I really have something to say, I don't do it. I'd rather not really push myself to make something come up. I'd rather have it happen organically. So I stopped, again, holding on to that idea that I have to do this. When it's there, it's there. I have a lot of material for cookbooks, and my husband does photography. I shouldn't say he does photography. That intimates that he does it just for fun. He went to school for photography. That just doesn't happen to be his day job. So he does all of the images. So I have everything there to do it. It's just a matter of putting it together. And I haven't decided how I want to do it, if I want to do it specifically by certain types of food, or whether I want it to be, I kind of feel like I want it to be a story as well. So I love to write. So it'll come.
I would love to help you with that when you're ready. And, you know, I am getting ready to do another book. And so I just loved that process a lot. And I was like you, I had so much content, so much stuff in my blog that I just put it all into a Word document and made a book out of it. And
that's right.
and so it was easier than I thought it would be as far as having already written the material. It's really about editing and putting that, love into it, and then setting the time for when you want to have it published. And I self-publish, but I think that cookbooks are really popular and really in demand. You probably could get a publisher really easily, especially with all of your expertise and knowledge. So I encourage you to do that, but not to put too much on your plate, because I know you've got so much going on. And but it would be great to see that happen. How about you, Jimmy? What do you do? Is it real estate that you're into? What is it?
I do home loans.
Oh, financing.
I do home loans. That's what I do during the day. Actually, it's kind of full time. I mean, round the clock almost, weekends and everything else. But I'm more about home. How can I put that? Home budgeting, my philosophy is buy a home that supports your lifestyle, not determines it. So I help people make good decisions about their home financing, not just get the biggest house and the biggest mortgage they can, because I'm actually doing, I'll tell you what I'm doing. And I noticed that, hang on a second here. I got to save this. Sorry, I was in the middle of something else. But anyway, Carol, you were talking about doing a blog. I've never done a blog. But I was thinking about writing a book, and then I decided that rather than write a book, I would just do a blog, and each blog could be a chapter in a future book, maybe.
It's called a blog,
but it's called Rich House, Poor House. And I've actually got the domain, and I hope Robert Kiyosaki doesn't come after me for stealing his idea, because his is rich dad, poor dad. That's kind of where the. But when you think Rich House, Poor House, what do you think? I mean, what does that make you think? Anybody?
Well, for me, it's the difference between living a stressful life and a non-stressful life.
Exactly.
Depending on the decision. Yeah.
Wow.
What platform are you using for your blog?
I haven't started it yet. I've never done one, so I have the domain richhousepoorhouse.com. I think I can just do it right there, right? I mean, it's through.
Do you build your own website? Okay.
I built lots of. I built websites for my Little League team when my kids were little. back when you had to do like 3 complete different steps to create one and then upload it, and I don't even remember what I used to do, but
it's a lot easier now.
Now it's just point and click with GoDaddy or web.com or one of those. But anyway, but so I'm sure I can put it together. My domain's registered with GoDaddy, and I'll probably just I imagine they have a format there that's a blog format. Anyway, so
what do you use, Carol?
I use WordPress.
Me too.
Can I ask you about WordPress? Does that gives you like a place for the blog? I mean, meaning that people can find your blog just by using WordPress, or is that like the software that lets you create the blog and then post it somewhere? How does that work?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's a very common platform that's considered a blogger's platform. It works well for bloggers, and it's a way to follow other people. There's also Blogger. Isn't it blogger.com? Is it blogger.org? I'm not sure which one now.
I don't know what there's. Yeah, Blogger. Really, I think came out of Google or something, but I would just go with WordPress.
And the thing is, I like WordPress. It's very flexible, and you can get a free site on WordPress. I don't necessarily recommend it, only because, and this is just my opinion, because then you get a lot of ads that pop up, not for you, but for the people that look at your blog, and sometimes it can kind of push people away because they don't want to get sold to. And it's not your stuff that's being sold. It's it's because you're getting it for free. You sort of allow that within it. So it can be a little bit obnoxious. So it doesn't cost much to get one. I think it's worth it. And I like it. It's user friendly.
Good advice.
So,
thank you.
Nancy says when she puts in richhousepoorhouse.com, it comes up with your Caliber Home Loan site, Jamie. So yeah,
That's me.
So you have it pointed to that for right now, but maybe you're going to be doing a blog there.
Oh yeah, richhousepoorhouse.com right now. It's forwarded, whatever you call it, to my Caliber Home Loans website because I don't have anything else to do with it yet. And the other thing is that we're heavily regulated. And so I got to be really careful about what I do on a blog because if it's, well, I don't even know for sure, but certainly I can't advertise in it without, very specific disclosures and so forth. So that's why it's pointing to my website, my Caliber website currently.
Mm-hmm. Well, in the same way, you can point it to a WordPress site and WordPress.org, and you can buy for like $50 to $100 a really nice, template, and then you can just start writing. It's great. Really easy.
I have this friend that's an author. I have coffee with him on a regular basis. He's a goofball. he's a retired college professor that in the 70s, I think in Oakland or something like that, he started a curriculum on the history of rock and roll. And that's what he has taught his entire life. How's that for a career? But he actually really knows his stuff, and he likes to write. He's a very prolific author, and he just writes and writes and writes. I told him about this idea, and he said, now he's like a school teacher to me. He's like, okay, did you write that first chapter yet? Come on, it's due.
Well, that's good. That's so interesting that you said that he teaches the history of rock and roll, because I recently interviewed Jeffrey Barnes, who's the author of The Wisdom of Walt, and he wrote the book about leadership and success stories based on Walt Disney's life, and he teaches a college course on the history of Disneyland. Oh, really? And then yeah, he does, and it's actually it's a history class for freshmen, and then there's another Michael. I want to say Brennan or Denon, Michael Denon, Professor Denon. He's at USC UC Irvine, and he teaches superheroes. The history. He teaches a science class based on superheroes. So I think it's maybe interesting. Yeah, exactly. He's a physics. He's a professor of physics. Funny. So I think that that any way we can reach our kids now, I guess is what they're doing, or they're just following their own passions. I know that for Jeffrey A. Barnes, that Disney and had that idea for so long and he was so concerned that when he presented it, he was so prepared, and he wasn't prepared that they were going to like it right off the bat and say go ahead. But turned out that the powers that be liked Disneyland, so it worked out, and then he ended up writing the book. So it's really cool. So that's cool. I think I would take a history class based on rock and roll or Disney or superheroes. That'd be kind of fun.
I took a poetry class based on Simon and Garfunkel.
There you
go. Great.
And I remember hearing The Boxer and thinking this was the most amazing thing. If you've ever listened to the words of that song, it's pretty poetic.
Well,
yeah, the whole class. I just thought it was so cool that our whole class was based on a Simon and Garfunkel album.
Huh. That's pretty neat. Well, I think teachers can be very, very creative, and I think it's awesome when they love what they're talking about. So I've been noticing that the side here, there's a lot of talk about financing and I don't know exactly, but they're talking about saving money and getting out of debt. And I think that, that's another topic that people need to discuss in order to, live a peaceful life and deal with their stuff. And that's what this topic, this conversation is really about is how do we take care of our whole selves? And so, how can you really enjoy, a wonderful hike and an amazing meal and be healthy and then go home and worry about your bills and your finances and stuff. So you really have got to take care of everything. So I'm kind of glad that the conversation is going on in the side. I don't want to talk about it right now, but you guys can. I've been there, done that. So,
and that's my with my my title, Rich House, Poor House. The big house, the pretty house, the extravagant house is not the rich house. That's the poor house in many cases.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think
people have stretched to do that, and everything that goes along with that, and then they don't have happiness, right. And they don't have money to go do what they wanted to.
It's so true.
That's
an important lesson. There's your college course. I'd love for my kids to learn that. I think that they're kind of understanding it right now, but we come from an area where we're, just kind of in the middle, but they go to schools where people have a lot of wealth or apparent wealth and those big, huge homes, and they have these lavish, vacations, and we're not doing all that. And so, I have a 18-year-old and a 20-year-old, and they kind of want to go out and make money, and I'm glad they're motivated to do that. That's what they should be thinking about right now. But I know it's thinking about that, ultimate, what are they going to buy with it? Like,
right.
You'll learn. Yeah.
It's funny though, once they get out into the world, both my sons have become really smart about money, and they both had to do it the hard way. I didn't have a lot to give them in that way. They had a lot of love and we had a lot of fun, but we didn't have a lot of money, and we made do. And I had a conversation with my oldest son a couple months ago, and he's 26, he's married, he's in the military, just a really smart guy. He's an intelligence officer in the Army.
Wow.
And I said, did the stress when you were little, did the stress of us not having a lot, did you ever feel that? Did you ever feel like you weren't going to have what you needed? And he said, no, Mom, I never did. I always knew that we'd be fine, and I always felt like you taught me the difference between want and need.
That's so weird.
And I really try to live that way now. And he said, let me tell you, when I'm out in the middle of the desert deployed all I have is my pack, I know the difference between want and need.
Yeah.
So I have to thank you for that. So here, because I always wondered if they felt the stress of not having, like if they worried about it. And both of them said, no, you always made everything great. So I'm paying them, of course, not
lesson.
Yeah.
I had the same situation with my boys when they were little growing up. And I used to use make up these words with them, and I'd say, well, that's a nicety and this is a necessity. That's how we used to,
That's it.
So cool.
And they really learned that, and now they know and they understand, and it's helped them learn how to manage their own finances. Now they're 21 and 24 now, but
that's fantastic.
You don't have to have everything.
Right.
No. And it doesn't make your life, and they know it doesn't make their life any better. We had a great time. We always had we did what we wanted to do, and they never wanted for anything. I mean, we didn't, we just didn't have extravagance, and they still don't. They both like nice things, but they also know the balance of, if you want it, you're going to have to work for it. And is it really worth that choice? If it is, then great, you should do that. If it's worth that choice for you. If it's not, then
right.
No.
Well, I think it was interesting for me when my kids first got jobs and they realized just the value of how much, energy they had to put into to make that money, and that was huge. That was a huge lesson they had to learn on their own.
Yep.
So now they're in college. I just don't have much more to say about that. Like I said, I don't really want to talk about finances. I want to talk about foods more. So tell me more about those decadent recipes you were talking about earlier, Carol.
Oh my goodness. Well, there is one recipe on my website that is truly decadent, but I absolutely love it. It's a triple dark chocolate lavender French lavender cake.
Oh wow, that sounds really good.
It's very dense. It feels a little weighty when you pick it up, but it's one of those things where when they invented the term melts in your mouth, pretty sure they were referring to this dessert.
Oh, wow. It sounds so good.
And I use lavender because I grow culinary lavender in my garden. So I grind that up really fine, and I actually do put lavender in it. So you can taste that. And I make a lavender whipped cream to go on top of it. So,
you know,
you don't need a very big piece of it.
Have any of you ever had lavender in that way, like with a dessert or with chocolate? It's amazing. Somebody brought me I think that was one of those little macaroons that with different flavors, and one was a lavender one. It was incredible. It was really incredible.
If you like lavender, one of the ways I like to use it is I make a sun tea, and I infuse it with lavender.
Oh, that sounds good. My mom used to make sun tea. How do you do that? How do you do it?
I put a little bit of I put a filtered water and just about half of the container of filtered water, and then 4 tea bags, put it out on my patio covered for 4 or 5 hours. And I put a piece of cheesecloth with the lavender or the mint or whatever I want in it, so that I don't have to fish it out and try to strain it later. That way I get the flavor, but not all the little pieces floating around in there, although it does look pretty. But it's just so delicious, and no one can ever figure out what it is. And I use all kinds of different teas. I like to mix tea bags together too. I don't necessarily like to just use one kind, because I think it's good when you mix them. That's my version of mixed drink.
That's your mixed drink.
Yep.
Well, that sounds really good. And you know, Carol introduced me to putting things like basil in drinks, and then it seems like it's really popular now, but when you were first doing it, that's the first I'd ever tasted. And I remember coming home and telling my husband, and he's like, "Are you sure basil?
Like, are you sure that's what that was?" That was
spinach. What kind of drinks?
It's a green smoothie. It was spinach, cucumber, mango, and basil.
So good.
And it's really refreshing. Really, really good.
So good. So yeah, that's how my mom did it, Meredith. Regular tea and little fruit or little mint. Oh, so good. So I'm glad that teas are popular again, iced teas and flavored teas. And just think that, you know, tea is good.
Good stuff.
Good stuff.
I like that triple chocolate cake myself. That sounds.
Yeah, I'm thinking back on that myself.
I know.
And you know, it's really because it's a French cake. It's very short. You're not expecting it to fluff up and be light. So it really takes a lot of the pressure off.
Well, that's cool. I bet it would be really good with a lot of whipped cream on it.
Yeah, it is. Admittedly. But there's your 90-10. 90% of the time, 10% of the time you should have that level.
I was literally just going to say I'm an 85-15 guy. You're 90-10. That's way too.
Well, I'm 80-20
for me.
But my 10 is decadent.
Yeah,
your 10's really decadent. That's why she goes with the triple chocolate.
Whatever I want.
my brother has struggled with his weight, and I told him, I says, I can help you. I can help you. It's the 85-15 rule, and I'm paleo 85% of the time.
Oh, wow.
So it's just natural unprocessed foods 85% of the time. I says it's the 85-15 rule, because what if I go out to dinner? What if I go, well, you got to figure out 85-15, So he's out with a friend of his. They're actually on a vacation. I think they're in Utah, and they start out. They both kind of need to lose a little weight, and they're both, okay, 85-15, 85-15 at the beginning of the night, and then okay, and what if we just go to 80-20, 80. 60-40, okay, 50-50.
Bartering.
And by the end of the night, they were 20-80.
That happens.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. Well, let's talk about locations that you like to go hiking. How's that?
Okay,
Jamie, you want to go first? Do you like to hike?
Do I like to hike? I like to hike. Yes, I do. I have. My knees don't like to hike though, but I like to hike. I've got some osteoarthritis, and hiking up's okay, but hiking down, I use the walking sticks, and that helps a lot. But in the area where I am, we have lots of mountain preserves in Scottsdale and Phoenix area. because we live in a very beautiful area that early on they started trying to build houses up the sides of mountains, and we put a stop to it. I say we, the folks that were in charge back then put a stop to it pretty early, and they started purchasing private land and creating mountain preserves. So within Phoenix, there's Camelback Mountain is so heavily hiked you can hardly find a parking space.
Oh, wow.
Seriously. And it's right smack in the middle of the valley. And then there's another one called Piestewa Peak. Very similar. Both are not huge mountains, not long hikes, but very the increase in elevation is pretty quick, so it's a good exercise. But then the McDowell Mountains in the northeast part of Scottsdale, and that's bordering the Tonto National Forest. So that's as you're getting out of town. I mean, there's got to be, I bet there's 150 miles of hiking trails through the McDowell Mountains, and they do a great job of maintaining it. It's just beautiful. The views, the air, everything is just beautiful.
That's a beautiful area. It sounds so nice. Have you ever hiked there, Carol? Have you ever been to Scottsdale?
I haven't. My parents live in Tucson, and they have a couple of canyons, Sabino Canyon and a couple of other areas. But I don't go there frequently enough to really do much hiking. And my parents live there, so dragging my folks out to go hiking really doesn't work too well. Yeah. And we generally end up going when it's hot still. So there's that. But I have been up Sabino, and it's beautiful. It really is. It's lovely up there. All kinds of animals up there.
Yeah, they had some mountain lion issues in Sabino Canyon over the years.
They sure have.
Yeah.
Bobcats and yeah.
I know a great restaurant in Scottsdale. It's called Soul Casina. Have you ever been to Soul Casina?
Soul in the Scottsdale Quarter?
Uh-huh.
My office is about maybe 200 yards from there.
Oh, okay. They have really good margaritas and duck tacos.
Yeah.
Duck tacos,
tacos. Huh. Yeah.
Wow.
They're really good. And all their tacos are really good. But that's somebody else. Being a blogger for so long, I've had the opportunity to interview a lot of people who've written books and gone to restaurants and things. And so I have Chef Deb Schneider's books, and she's the chef for Soul Casina. And there's one here in Huntington, and then there's Solitas, which is a more casual version of the same restaurant in Valencia. And they're really good.
I've been there.
You've been there, Solitas Tacos and Margaritas? Okay. So they're the same place, the same company, and they have some of the same foods, and it's really good stuff. So, and healthy, very Baja, fresh kind of, style of cooking. So we have Bruce has joined in, and also I think that Tracy is still here, and I wanted to give him a chance to come in, or Diana. If anybody would like to come into the discussion, please let us know. And
I can jump out.
I'd be happy to jump. It's fine.
I know you wanted to. I'm not going to let you go, Mary. You have to stay right there. But hi, kids, he says. I'm here on the sideline and enjoying your conversation. Well, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. It's nice to see you here. And Bruce was over at Meerkat, because I'm also streaming from Meerkat, and then he popped over. And Bruce is always a good I like having him in the room. He's a really good guy, and maybe he'd like to say something. So and meet Carol and Jamie. So Carol is my friend from real life. I took a class that she gave, and we've kept in touch over the years. And she, Bruce, you've been watching on Meerkat, so you know that she is the wellness and kitchen coach, and just a fantastic, healthy, inspirational person to follow. So I want you to follow her and get to know her. And over here in Meerkat, I see my old friend I haven't seen for a few weeks, David Pullman. Welcome, David. If you have any questions for my guest, Carol Takakura, please let me know. And Paul Hawkins just joined. So see why I like to go for 2 hours, because people come and go, and it's a great way to meet people. And we kind of have to start over a little bit, but it's really interesting because you never know who might come in and the relationships that are fostered are really well worth the time. So
I'm going to clarify something real quick, because I just looked up in the left corner and I realized that my website name is My Sage Gourmet, not Sage Gourmet. Sage Gourmet is actually, and I didn't even know it, was a restaurant that's no longer in business, went out of business years ago, but someone pointed out to me and they said, if you take the my off, that you end up somewhere with a closed business. And I said,
oh, that's bad. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm glad you pointed that out. We can change it before we go to say.
Only because if someone's trying to go to the website, they won't get there.
Right. There we go. How's that?
I have a question for you.
Yeah. See how easy?
At the bottom of my little screen, there's hands and numbers. Since I haven't done this before, tell me about that.
These are your feels.
They used to call them feels. Now it says, if you hover over it, it says click to give props. But originally they did call them feels. But then there's got too many T's. They got teased too many times about, copying a feel and stuff like that. Basically, yeah, but they kept the hands because it kind of means like a high 10 or, you're, kind of raising the roof or, yeah, it's a really nice symbol to just tell somebody that you like what they're saying or that you're happy that they're here. And it does, it'll add up the whole time you're in the room, but it starts over as soon as you enter a new room.
Got it.
I'm live.
Got it.
It's kind of fun, and our little bubbles pop up. So I've been on Blab for 3.5 months, and so since it had just started. In fact, if you ever go into the front page of it and click on that little video that they have from the first month of blabbing, I'm in it. It's kind of cool. Just a few little seconds of me with my microphone. And my co-host at the time, Jay, and he's saying something funny about not wearing pants. And he was very embarrassed about that because we've talked serious stuff here on 10 Minutes in Tinseltown. But, and so anyway, I've seen it progress, and it's so neat to see so many new changes and things that we've talked about wanting and asking. And they really worked with the beta, the people who have been here from the beginning and have been diligently getting to all of our requests. And that just today, they started with this black background on the right here and the colors. So if anybody didn't like the black background, there used to be white with block writing, and you can change it by typing in a / and then light, the word light, LIGHT, and it will actually change it. So you have some options. So, but everything about it has grown since the beginning, and it's really, I just love it. I can't tell you. Obviously, you know that all of our requests. Are you saying that sarcastically, or do you mean that, Bruce? That all of our requests, have they gotten to the, having a co-host is something they want? Lee wants a new pony. If you ask them, you never know. You have to just ask for what you want in life.
So he has a pony already, and he wants a new one. Is that, am I understanding that correctly?
That's a good catch. Yeah, he probably does have you probably do have a pony, Lee. He looks, he wants a new one. Yeah, okay, there you go. They don't always stay ponies, right? Don't they grow up? Kittens. Oh, good. So Bruce says nothing at all in terms of sarcasm. And, I guess he's backing me up, because there really are a lot of things that we'd hope to see that is happening. And one thing about it that's been consistent from the beginning, though, I'll say, is the quality of the video, and the sound has come and gone with different things that they've tried, but it's really remarkable. I've tried a lot of other platforms and been doing this for a while now, a couple years, and it just, I love it. I could go on and on and on, but that's just me. So, if it can't beat a good, oh man, that Lee gets me every time. If you went back and watched all my shows, anyone that's Lee Carlson is me going, gosh, Lee. He says the funniest things, but I love him. He's a great guy.
Oh.
What do you say? You just saw it? Yeah, he's a bad boy. All right. He has some good one-liners. But anyhow, so it's 7:30. We're winding down on the conversation. We've decided that we're going to do this more often and talk about wellness with Carol. And get some ideas. We'll make a list. How about make a list of things that you want to talk about, and we'll just kind of, when we both can do it. We don't have to schedule it out because, hopefully if all goes well, everybody's just going to still be here like we have for the last 3 months, and we'll just go 3 months at a time. So if anybody out there has any questions or areas of interest or specific issues, health issues that you want us to talk about, let me know, please. You could tweet us. If you tell a little bird right now, then in your Twitter, all of our 4 names will come up, and you can follow us. You can follow Carol and ask her questions and let us know what you're interested in. And if you have any financial home issues or rich dad, poor dad questions, no, not rich house, poor house questions. And just so you know, a book title can't be copyrighted. You can have a lot of the same book titles or song titles, and people can have the same. So you shouldn't have any problem with that. So I found that out when I had my book. This is the sound of my soul, because I used a line from a song, and I still got permission to use it, but I didn't have to. Yeah. Did you know that I got permission from Gary Kemp? Yeah, I told you that story already. Oh well. Darn. So, and a pony. Okay. A sugar daddy and a pony.
The list is growing.
I know. He's got an interesting list.
Yeah.
So, any questions?
And Junior's here now. Hey,
Junior's here now. This is the hardest part about partying.
I did not hear the story, so let me just preface this by, do you all know that Ms. Meliz has the book? She wrote the book, This is the Sound of My Soul. It is a transformational journey. It's one woman's journey through life, family, and self-discovery. Deeply personal and retrospective, the book touches the heart of the reader by letting us into the inner sanctum of the author. We get to share in her joys and experiences. So it's on Amazon.
Thank you, dear.
You should read that and follow Ms. Meliz at everywhere.
MsMeliz.com. Here's my book.
MsMeliz.com. There's her beautiful book.
It's nice. Holding up. It's propping up the camera here. It's very useful.
It does all kinds of cool tricks, huh? Does it? But can you get Lee a pony? That's the question.
I don't know.
Melissa, I see it's on Kindle and paperback. Is it on audio at all?
Not yet, but I've been known to read a chapter or 2 on Blab, so I just have to follow.
Very good.
I would like to do that. In fact, I'm taking a voiceover class, so I could really do it, because I think that would be hard to read the whole. I don't know. I like reading it out loud, though. I guess I should try it. So thank you very much for that, Mare. And I have a couple things I can give away to you. And I also wanted to acknowledge the Reverse Life. Sorry, the Reverse Life. Where are you?
Junior.
Is he still there? Junior? Did he pop?
I said hi to him.
I know. Uh-oh.
That was quick.
I hope he comes back, because the reason why he calls himself the Reverse Life is because he has reversed his diabetes.
Somebody tweet him. Maybe I'll do that.
Okay. Thanks, Mary. Oh, yeah, that's right. Mary's like, somebody tweet him. Oh, wait, that's my job.
I'm on it.
It would be fun to introduce him to Carol. And then I wanted to find out if anybody wanted a yoga mat, because I can give you a free yoga mat. I have a sponsor. Let me see if I can find my yoga mat. Here, it's right here. This is brand new, not broken in yet. I can't show you the whole thing because, it's big and this is a little screen, but it's a really cool Aurora Vey. Have you heard of that brand? Can you see it in the picture? Aurora Vey. I don't know how to say it. Anyhow, I know I'm a bad.
I was going to say I've given up Subway, but then you.
There's no V. It's Aurora. I'm gonna have to do some editing when I do the video here. So Aurora.com, and if you go to Aurora at Twitter, they have given me this beautiful yoga mat. Now look at this. There's like a design on it. It's really pretty.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, and wait till you get to the top. There's like a really pretty sun.
Oh, wow.
So, I need to use it. I'm going to stick it out right there. And my son took my old yoga mat, and I told him when I noticed it in the car, he didn't ask. He said he'd been using it while he was home for the summer, and he was packing and going away to college. I'm like, is that my yoga mat? He's like, yeah. He's like, I've been using it. Is that okay? So I said, yeah, I think I could get a new one. And so I got a pitch for a, he's using it for yoga or exercise. Lee, what else do you use yoga? I don't want to know. Anyway, so I had been pitched for a really cool microfiber towel that Aurora makes, and they sent it to me, and I tested it, and I talked about it, and I gave one away, and it was really awesome. And it's a full size bath towel, but it's made of that microfiber fabric that it's great. It's really absorbent, and I keep it in the Jeep. And so I noticed that they had other products. Of course, yoga is their thing. So I asked them if I could have a yoga mat, and they sent me one. And then they said, if you want to give one away, you can. So if any one of you wants one, speak up right now. Who wants one?
Somebody
Nobody?
say they want one.
Okay.
Junior's back.
Look at who's here. It's Stiletto Supermom.
Stiletto Supermom's in the house.
My dear friend Stiletto Supermom, she's awesome. Do you want a yoga mat? Oh, you're in Canada. I don't know if I could send one to Canada. Reverse Life is back. Do you want a yoga mat? Reverse Life, I'd like to introduce you to Carol. His name is Junior Montañez, and he's a health coach, fitness fanatic, food junkie, reverse type 2 diabetic. And and you win the yoga mat. And I will DM you, and you're going to get a brand new nice yoga mat from Aurora. And they have a great website, and I will tweet that all to you. And Jamie, would you mind stepping out so Junior can come in and say hello? And Lee, do you want the towel? I can get you the towel. Okay, so see if Junior will pop in, and we can introduce him to Carol. We have a few minutes left. And Stiletto is, okay, a lot of cracks.
I've got background. See my puppy in the background and my husband.
Oh, I see someone going up the stairs. And here comes a doggy. Oh, awesome.
I'm getting ready with my yoga position for my mat.
You want a position for your mat?
I said I'm getting ready for my yoga position.
I don't think I get it there to you that fast. No. I have to let them know. But it's really nice.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking maybe a downward
like in
dog
the picture here.
Like that,
Yeah, can you see?
Is there a picture?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, I see it. Yeah. That's really
so, Junior, meet Carol. Carol is an inspiration of mine, and she's here today. She's a wellness, healthy living coach, and she does kitchen coaching, which is hard for me to say. I can't believe I just made it work. And yoga. She teaches yoga as well. And so we were just telling him, when we saw your name pop up, I said, oh, you got to meet the Reverse Life, because the reason why we're talking tonight is because I want to bring more discussion about health and healthy choices. Selfishly, because I'm dealing with my own diabetes and back issues, and I want to be able to increase my movement and decrease the inflammation. So that's what we're talking about.
Guys,
is there a bad connection?
Audio only. Oops.
You know what? Maybe he needs to just try refreshing, Junior.
He's on a phone, Carol. Remember I told you
that
iOS or phone, and so it's obvious to me that he's on the phone. So maybe when he comes back, it'll be better. But that's one shaky part of it. It depends on your Wi-Fi. So Stiletto Supermom, would you like to come in and say hi? It's so neat to see you on my show. So excited! I'm honored. She's the funnest person ever, and I say funnest very deliberately. She has brightened up my day many times. She plays music and dances with her son. I dance while I'm getting ready for work in the morning, and just have a really fun time. And she's gorgeous and lovely person. So if you want to stop in and say hi and meet Carol and say hi to Mare, you can. And Lee, you too. Okay, here she is. Awesome.
Here comes Stiletto.
Hey, sorry for I made some cupcakes, so
Really? That's awesome.
Yeah, I made I bought these little like fondant little butcher knives or cleavers.
Oh.
And
Oh
so
my
I made these slaughter cupcakes
Oh,
and some
That's funny.
red blood.
Well, that's really
And the kids
interesting because
get right into the Halloween
Do you
spirit
watch-
in these parts.
do
That's
you
fun.
watch Food Network? Do you watch the Food Network?
I do watch it, yes.
There's a show right now that just in 2 weeks, it's only has had 2 episodes so far. It's the Halloween baking competition. And one of the contestants, one of the contestants' name is Ashley Marie. She's a baker from Lee's hometown, actually. She's from Salt Lake City, and she was on the show, and she's going to be on 10 Minutes in Tinseltown and talking about what it's like to be on the show. And so they've been making the craziest stuff on that show, like that cleaver would be perfect. They have all and there's so many ways to make blood. If somebody wanted to put one in a dessert, they have got caramel blood and chocolate blood. And
What I go to Walmart and I get the tube, and
you just put it on. They're making it. I would do that too, but they're making it. So, and Ms. Red Velvet joined. Isn't that ironic? So they were making red velvet cake. That's
I love red velvet.
Yeah, that's a good thing to make on Halloween. So yeah, I'm sorry to Junior that your connection is having issues. So Stiletto came in to say hi because this is like the first time ever she's come to 10 Minutes in Tinseltown. What brought you here, my friend? What?
Me?
Yeah. What do we owe the honor?
Well, you tagged me first of all, and every time you tag me,
I did do that.
I'm either like on the way out or I'm like in the middle of something, and I'm like. So as soon as I sat down, I'm like, wait a minute, she's going to be on there, isn't she? And I happened to check my Twitter, and then so here I am.
Yes.
So I was like,
oh, you're so sweet. Thank you. Well, you know what? If you get tagged by me, it's a 50-50 chance that it's on purpose. Like I'm like, you got to be on this show. And then what I do is I try to like make the most of it. And we're all like, so I hate to say incestuous, but like if I'm on Mare's Twitter and I'm tweeting her, you might be the first person or the last person she talked to. So you're in her friend list. So I'll be like, oh, okay. And then I just kind of keep popping around to each person. And I love it because it's the easiest way to connect with a lot of people because we all know each other. And then I'll be like, okay. And I'm like, Oprah, you should come. You should come. And you should come.
Yeah,
so much fun.
We all know each other, but we also forget. But oh yeah, I'm like so awful for that because we've met. I think it's because since March I've met so many people at such a short time.
Yeah.
So it's like keeping track of everybody and like. I mean, when somebody like out of the blue, like you know how everybody's been kind of dropping in.
Yeah, more people.
And then when they're gone for a while, and they come back and like, do you remember me? I'm like. Yes, I do. I do remember. And it's like, but it's crazy because, I'm so, I have to be, I'm very visual as far as that's concerned, like I have to, if I see you all the time, then I'm going to remember. But if you drop off and you come back like a couple months later, chances are it's going to be a little slower for me to figure out.
Well, I'm glad I tagged you, and I'm glad you came here because I haven't been to Meerkat very much to watch streams, so I haven't seen you too much lately, but I always have such a fun time whenever I do. And so I wanted to tell you that Carol is our guest tonight, and she is she's a chef and a yoga instructor, and she helps coaches people in the kitchen. And so do you have any questions off the top of your head about health or food or cooking or?
I don't know if a lot of you, I think Mare knows, but I suffer from MS.
I did not know that.
Yes. Yeah, I suffer from MS. So I've been looking into different, like I know, okay, I have to have more vegetables and all that kind of stuff. But I'm wondering what kind of foods would help with fatigue.
Oh, it's a great question.
Well, I think probably one of the misconceptions is that people sometimes go to caffeine for that, and you might get a little relief from it, but you're also going to get that rise and then the drop, and then besides the fact you don't want to be reliant on it. That's not really a healthy way to go. I find foods that are refreshing tend to help me keep my fatigue at bay, and also making sure that I'm eating well throughout the day and not stretching my meals out too far. Because if you eat a large, first of all, if I happen to be one of those people that I like a big meal in the morning, and if I don't eat first thing in the morning and then I let it go, and then I try to make up for it at lunchtime, it really doesn't serve me well at all. I end up crashing. So to keep myself from, like today, for example, I had this is my big day. Tuesdays, I'm up at 5 o'clock. I go to my Toastmasters meeting. I was competing in a speech contest this morning. Then I went from there to my office and worked all day. And I made the smart decision today to come back to the house in between my morning meeting and going into the office to make sure that I got some sustenance in my body. Because if I hadn't, around 11 o'clock, I would have been not only exhausted, but I would have been starving, and I would have ended up eating more than I should have, which again would have made me more tired. It's this vicious cycle that we get on. So I really believe in the concept of trying to think ahead. I tend to cook and prepare on a day when I have the time. I'll go to do the farmer's market thing. I come home and soak all my vegetables in a little bit of filtered water and vinegar and rinse everything off, cut it up and bag it up and put it in the refrigerator. That way, when I'm in a hurry and I've got a lot going on, which will tend to wear you down, I'm prepared to grab and go.
Right.
So if you can do that, and if you can be well prepared, I think that more than anything is going to help you keep fatigue at bay. And then keeping in mind that the fresher the better, the greener the better, the lighter the better, and staying away from stuff that's going to weigh you down and just make you feel tired and heavy. I don't know. Do you eat meat? Do you not eat meat?
I do eat meat. Not as much. I don't eat any more pork. I used to eat before, but I haven't really eaten pork in a few years now. I eat meat, but not a whole lot of it. Like, I don't know. I don't really get fatigue from that. I think like this, I'm not a morning person, as the ladies know.
We were just talking about that.
And at all. But I do like smoothies. I have trained myself to like smoothies in the morning, which helps because I don't eat in the first thing in the morning either. So the smoothies help. And I snack more. It's just like you said, I guess I'm gonna just keep adding more like citrus fruits or some, stuff like that into my diet. I guess a little bit more.
And then when you're doing your smoothies, considering having a more protein, which is going to take longer to work through your system, and less fruits because they're going to give you that spike and that up, that down. Even when they're fresh, consider more greens and less fruit in the smoothie in the morning because you'll get a more sustained energy. It'll take longer to burn through your system, and you won't get hungry as quickly. And then when you're making sure that you have a good protein source at every meal too, and a good balance, some clean carbs. You're going to need the carbs. You just can't go carb free. You really can't, and expect that your energy level is going to stay up. But it's a matter of balance and picking the right things and staying away from that rough white sugar. Anything with I say if you can stay away from anything white, if you can get rid of white, you're good. So, and I know a lot of people that do really well on meat, and I know a lot of people that don't. It's really about finding what works for your body and working with that. Knowing that what works for you may not work for your partner or your son or your daughter. We're all very individualized. The body is going to thrive on certain things, and then other things it's not. So dialing in and knowing what works for you and keeping those things handy for yourself and staying away from the processed stuff will carry you a long way.
Do you eat meat, Carol? I can't remember.
I eat it. But I grew up on a meat and potatoes diet. I'm from back east. I'm from Pennsylvania. So my whole family, their idea of a well-rounded meal is a nice big juicy hamburger or a steak and mashed potatoes and that whole thing. And I ate that all my life. When I got pregnant with my youngest son, the whole meat thing, it didn't smell right to me. It didn't taste right. It didn't taste like anything to me anymore. So I stopped eating it while I was pregnant. And then I noticed a lot of changes in the way I was feeling, but I thought I attributed it to the pregnancy. And then after I wasn't pregnant anymore, I tried eating meat again, and it just did not work for me. So I don't assimilate it well. I don't digest it well. I digest fish just fine, but I was finding with beef and pork, especially, that it was making me tired, and it was wreaking havoc on my digestion. And it's just, you know, my husband eats it, my kids eat it. I don't have anything against it. I like them to make sure they're eating a clean protein, meaning, you know, that the animal was treated fairly, that the cows are grass fed, that there's no hormones, and that it's organic whenever you can get it. That's the criteria.
Well, I found that my super energy meal, like I treat my once a week, is sushi. I love sushi.
Oh yeah. Well, you saw my last name, right? My husband's Japanese, so we get to do that a lot around here, and I eat a lot of fish. And I was gonna people are starting to get freaked out about fish. They really are. There are ways to eat fish that are not only safe for you, but also safe for the environment and safe for our ecological system in general, that allow the fish to replenish. And so we're not overfishing on a certain type of fish because everyone's thinking that's the only type they should eat. And I just had it on the tip of my tongue, the name of the organization I'm thinking of, because I wrote about it today and my brain just went, I just would have held my thing and then it wouldn't have went out the other side, but there's an organization, they're affiliated with the Monterey Bay Aquarium, and they have a fish report. And you can actually go on there and it'll tell you what the fish that you should be eating right now and what you should not be eating based on what's going on with the oceans and what the currents are and all of that, because that all affects what kind of junk is getting into your fish.
Have you been to the Monterey Bay Aquarium?
I have.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
I've seen that there, and that's really cool. I'm glad you brought that up. So that's exactly the kind of thing I wanted to talk to you about. That's awesome. And so, Carol, what's an example from you of a clean carb? What are some clean carbs that we can use?
I like mixing things quite a bit, and I have a couple of salads that I make that have a combination of fruits and greens, or I have a quinoa. I think I might have made this for you, a quinoa salad.
Really good. We made it for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, a quinoa salad with a citrus dressing, and you use fresh segments of grapefruit and tangelos or tangerine.
No, I don't think
and, you mix that in with the quinoa. Quinoa is actually not a grain, it's a seed. It comes at the end of a plant, at the very tips of the leaves. And the only thing I'll say about quinoa is when you're eating it, you want to make sure that you rinse it really well. Rinse it with filtered water until it rinses clean and that's not foamy anymore, because there is an acid that's naturally on that plant that's meant to keep the birds off of it.
Right.
And if you don't rinse it really well, it can cause a lot of digestive disorders or a lot of distress in your digestive tract. But that citrus salad with the quinoa is a really nice way to mix fresh fruit and also a protein that's also considered a carbohydrate meal. It's delicious. And you can even put a little bit of coconut milk into it too, into the dressing.
Oh, that sounds really good. And how do you feel about dairy? And that'll be my last question because it's almost 8 o'clock. I like to have yogurt in the morning or something before my coffee because it gives me more energy. But I'm thinking maybe it's the sugar in it that gives me energy. I'm not sure.
Well, stick with the strained a yogurt that's like a Greek yogurt, but really a Greek yogurt, like Fage, or what is it? V-A-G. I never say it right.
Fage.
Thank you. That's one of my favorites. I always flip the container around and look at the sugar content, keeping in mind that there's natural sugar in yogurt, and that's part of the reason you're getting that nice probiotic effect that yogurt has. But if the Yoplait and all those ones with the fruit added, that's just junk. It really is. Yeah. It's just another way to disguise sugar. And you're right, it's sweet, but if you want it sweet and you want to get a little bit of healing effects, use about a 1/4 teaspoon and no more of honey, raw honey. and it has an antimicrobial aspect to it that's great for healing. It's great for infections. It's great to balance out your digestion. So if you're having digestion issues, a little bit of raw honey, but very, very small amount. That's one way to go with it. Or just some fresh fruit in it. I like to put hemp husks. They're hulls. They're sweet. It's actually hulls, not husks. I put that on top of my yogurt and a little bit of walnuts, because then you're getting protein and you're getting those really good fats from the walnuts that are really great for you to sustain your energy too. Those are great.
Carol, there's another question from one of the viewers. Lee Carlson was asking if you have any recommendations for foods that were good for people with autism.
Well, there's a lot of discussion, and it's constantly changing. What I will say about it is it's even more important with that particular group that you try to eat as clean as possible and stay away from the processed stuff, especially the dyes. Anything with dyes in it, it's just horrid. There's no reason for it. Certainly with kids. Soda, all of this stuff that has all these caramel colorings. And I find a lot of people that have even people that have neurological dysfunctions that are going on. And my best friend has a couple of, she's got 2 immune deficiency diseases. And she tries to stay away from serving anything, keeping anything, or eating anything that's been in plastic, which I think is the way to go as well. I try to store everything in glass if I'm using any sort of storage containers. And because when you reheat stuff, even with a water bottle, refilling these water bottles, they get hot sitting in your car, and these chemicals are released into the bottle, and then you fill it up with water again and re-drink it. You're just putting this junk in your body that it's just not necessary. And I think you just have to be even more vigilant. I'm starting to get sleepy. You can tell I've been up since so early.
I'm going to let you off the hook now. You have been a wealth of knowledge, and I want to invite everybody to come back and watch the replay. And if you have more questions for Carol, let us know, because hopefully she'll be a regular on 10 Minutes in Tinseltown, or maybe we'll come up with a new name. Maybe it'll be, 120 minutes with My Sage Gourmet. But anyway, thank you so much. And I can't thank you enough, Mare, for being my co-host, my reluctant co-host. You did a great job.
You're welcome.
And I know it's very late for you. And Carol, just big hugs to you.
Big hugs, sending them out. Thank you so much, Melissa, and Mare. Thank you so much.
It was great meeting you.
Someone over here on Meerkat says there's a lot of sexy girls in here. There's a lot of sexy, tired ladies who are going to go to bed now. So
who are mixing their words up at this point.
We'll have a good dream before we say something really bad. So,
well, thank you again.
Play my music and say
okay.
Rock it on out. Thanks for coming to 10 Minutes in Tinseltown with Ms. Meliz. I'm Melissa Reyes. I'm so happy that you're here tonight with my featured guest, Carol Takakura, and my lovely co-host, Mare from New York. Okay, good night, everybody.
Good night. Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you. All right, we'll talk later. We'll talk soon.
Okay,
take care. Get a good night's rest. Thank you. Bye-bye. This was a lot of fun, and I appreciate everybody who was here. Mare, thank you so much. Lee, thank you. And